Opening ambient chime, 2 inches the corridors of history. There are moments when a single kiss, a shared glance, or a whispered vow tilts the room and the fate of nations alike. Welcome to Royal Couples, where love is not just a private flame but a force that shaped kingdoms, sparked revolutions, and left us with stories that feel almost too large for a single lifetime. If you believe that romance can endure beyond the page, you're in the right place. Because these are love stories that changed history and still light up the imagination. Our first chapter travels to the Nile, where a queen and a general found a way to steer the tides of empire. Cleopatra, sovereign of Egypt, and Antony, a commander of Rome, carried a romance that sparkled with danger and promise. Their bond was not just a romance of longing, it was a collision of worlds. They spoke in long, lingering, argued with the stubborn courage of those who loved deeply, and chose loyalty not to a throne but to one another. Their passion drew the gaze of 3 empires, and in their embrace, the map of power shifted, even as their own destinies unraveled. Love, they discovered, can be a bold choice when everything is at stake. A daring risk that gives both courage and a glimmer of mercy in a world ruled by conquest. But history is not built on triumph alone. It's built on the quiet, stubborn resilience of hearts who refuse to surrender to cynicism. Move forward in time, and we arrive at a different kind of romance: the long, patient partnership of Victoria and Albert. The queen who wore a crown with composed gravity and the prince consort who walked beside her with a steady, generous mind. Their bond was not about fireworks, it was about a shared vision. They built a life where daily duties became acts of devotion, reforms shaped by collaboration, artistry nourished by shared curiosity, and a monarchy renewed by the trust 2 people offered each other year after year. Their love became a blueprint for a future where resilience isn't a compromise but a path to a lasting, meaningful happiness. Another thread in this tapestry threads to Paris and the storm of the French Revolution. Marie Antoinette and Louis XVI faced a fortress of expectations, courtly etiquette, and a world turning on its hinge. Their romance did not erase the storm, but it gave a tender counterweight, a reminder that tenderness can bloom even as the drums of upheaval beat loud. They were young rulers learning to navigate the treacherous currents of fate, choosing private tenderness in the face of public trial. If history is a ledger of consequences, their love teaches us that affection can steady a nation's heart, even when the ground beneath is shifting. SFX, clock_tick, 2 from the salons of Europe to the streets and palaces of Russia. The love story of Catherine the Great and Grigory Potemkin reveals another side of power: how admiration and trust can fuel bold reforms. Catherine's ascent was not a solitary climb. It was bolstered by a partner who saw her not as a Their bond helped redefine the idea of rule, turning a crown into a stewardship that looked outward toward modernization, education, and a more humane governance. Theirs was a romance that welcomed idea and ambition, teaching us that love can amplify courage rather than erode it. SFX, soft_breeze, 2 in a different corner of history. A pair whose names echo through time for their incandescent devotion: Napoleon Bonaparte and Josephine. Their letters hum with longing, even when distance and duty pull them apart. Josephine's warmth softened the stern mind of a warrior, and Napoleon's grand ambitions found a refuge in her steadfast presence. Their story reminds us that love isn't simply a remedy for loneliness. It is a mirror that reflects our best possibilities. When 2 people choose to nurture what they share, they can become the source from which a nation learns to dream bigger and fight for a future that feels possible. SFX, heart_beat, 3 let us slip into another era, where romance wears a softer, more domestic light: the court of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip in later years, where partnership became a practice in daily life. Their relationship thrived on unspoken understanding, shared humor, and a mutual commitment to service that did not dull their humanity. It was not a story of fireworks but of a steadfast, enduring companionship that weathered the weather of public life. They show that love can evolve, grow quieter, and still carry the percussive power to steady a family, a nation, and a sense of republic of hearts that trusts in the simple, ordinary acts that become extraordinary when given time. SFX, soft_chime, 2. And then there is a different kind of romance written in the margins of empire, the quiet, unexpected affair that often shapes the course of nations without making the pages seem dramatic at first glance. Cleopatra's legacy, Victoria's reign, Catherine's reforms, and Maria's resilience. All these threads remind us that love is not a single moment but a continuing choice. The choice to listen, to forgive, to learn, and to endure. The choice to turn a palace into a home, a throne into a stage for mercy, and a history book into a testament to human courage. SFX, applause, 5. If you're listening as a dreamer, you might wonder how these romances can be relevant to your life. Here is the heart of it: love, when tended, grows stronger than the sudden rush of romance alone. Perseverance matters. Small acts of care matter. The daily decision to show up for someone when the world seems loud or unkind matters. These couples teach us that love is not a fairy tale that happens to a few. It is a practice that anyone can learn, practice, and refine. It is the quiet persistence that turns a spark into a flame that lights a home, a community, and a history we can be proud to inherit. SFX, soft_breeze, 2. So what are we carrying forward from these stories? Hope, first. The belief that true affection can survive misunderstandings, political pressures, and the casualties of time. Resilience, 2. The ability to grow together without losing who you are. And, perhaps most importantly, a reminder that love is not a retreat from life but a courageous invitation to stay, to listen, and to keep choosing each other day after day. If the world feels heavy, let these stories return your faith in the beauty of becoming two people who choose to walk forward together. Imagine the crown not as a weight alone, but as a shared burden and a shared dream. Picture a throne as a space built on trust, where the best parts of two hearts learn, adapt, and ultimately help each other become wiser, kinder, bolder versions of themselves. That is the romance history wants to show us. That love can be a bridge across centuries. A quiet revolution in the most intimate of ways. SFX, soft_chime, 2. As we close this chapter of royal couples, carry with you the sense that love is a force that grows when we nurture it, when we listen more than we speak, and when we remember that a single pair of hands held together can move the needle of time. The stories aren't just about figures on a throne. They are about the everyday bravery it takes to keep faith in another person, to forgive, to rebuild, and to keep hoping for a better tomorrow. And maybe, just maybe, they remind us that a future with real, lasting happiness isn't a fairy tale lost to history. It's a living story we can write with care, courage, and the conviction that love is always worth the effort. Closing whisper: if you enjoyed this walk through history's heart, imagine who you might be in your own love story. The next chapter could be written by you. Now the thread carries us to 2 more chapters where power and affection collide in dazzling, memorable ways. Henry II of England and Eleanor of Aquitaine bonded early in their time, not as a hush of romance alone but as a force that reshaped a realm. Their marriage yoked 2 crowns and 2 restless wills, and the grand drama that followed wars with their sons, a messenger's cry in a cathedral, and the sheer stubborn brilliance of a partnership that refused to be broken by pride. Eleanor helped temper the king's storms, and Henry, in turn, set the stage for a culture of courtly culture, law, and expansion. Their love endured through upheaval, and even in the fiercest moments it offered a quiet belief that unity could weather betrayal and ambition. Across the sea, Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile forged a union that birthed a new Spain. They stood as co-sovereigns, balancing faith, empire, and reform, launching voyages that widened the world. Their alliance turned a fractured peninsula into a united crown, while their shared trust fed a renaissance of art, learning, and governance. Love here was a compass and a treaty at once, guiding families, courts, and nations toward a brighter horizon. They funded explorers, reimagined law, and kept faith with their people even as rivers of money and ideology moved beneath the surface. If these two unions feel distant, imagine their ripple: a courtly family expanded, a continent reimagined. A set of ideals that still whispers through history's halls. The truth remains tender. Courage at the heart of partnership can bend the arc of a dynasty, a civilization, and perhaps a story that outlives both lovers. These couples teach us that love's true work is not just passion, but partnership, the steady, stubborn best version of two souls choosing to stay, to serve, to dream, even when the cost feels high. SFX, gentle_chime, 2. And so we carry forward. Not just with legends of crowns, but with the deeper sense that love, when tended, becomes a map. It points to mercy when power bites, to curiosity when tradition binds, and to resilience when time tests every vow. Close your eyes and let the names linger, their rooms, their councils, the quiet evenings when doubt faded and resolve took its place. May these stories remind you that your own heart can be a force for good, and that happiness, built with patience, is a worthy, unfolding history in progress. SFX, soft_breeze, 2. The next chapter awaits in your own living room. A chance to believe again in the possibility of a shared dream that grows brighter with every day. You choose.